3 things you should have for this watch review, recommended by me, nutnfancy. First, popcorn. That helps. 2, your credit card. These watches are outstanding. And 3, an appreciation for a good time. For instance, here comes a B24 Liberator engine start number 3 motor from memory, not practiced. I think it sounds something like this. A little bit of white smoke coming out from startup number 3 engine. There you go, now it's running. There's your B24 engine start. 1 of the engine, 3 more to go. Anchoring the WRV, dudes, do you like it? Check this machine out. 1/72nd scale die cast. Olive drab. I think this is a J model B24 Liberator. World War II bomber, American forces, one of the best bombers of World War II, often overshadowed by the B-17 Flying Fortress. Also a fantastic plane, but I also love the Liberator. We've talked about this plane, haven't we, at the Aviation Museum visits on Patreon. That's right. Go to Patreon. I think that's where those are posted. I don't know if they will ever see the light of day on the A channel or the B channel for that matter. Speaking of Patreon, real quick, I ran into a TMPer of sorts. That's right, I said of sorts, who says he loves the channel, loves the videos. And I say of sorts because he doesn't subscribe. That's like job 1. He doesn't sub, and then he doesn't belong to TMP Patreon. And I find it interesting because he has so much enthusiasm apparently for the videos. Started talking about the content flow, lots of stuff. I did come around to the WRVs. I was like, do you watch the watch reviews? And he goes, well, you know, I check in with a project once a month. And I'm like, okay, that's not a TMPer. Bless his heart. That's cool. That's okay. But sub and, you know, go watch the videos when they break. You get more. And I said, well, go to Patreon. The flow there is like 4 times what you see on the A channel. And back to the WRVs, he goes, yeah, I do or did watch the WRVs, but here's the problem. Every WRV I watched, I bought those watches. So to answer your question, nutnfancy, no, I don't watch the WRVs anymore. That's what he said. In other words, he did not want another gear addiction. He bought the watches from the first ones he watched. He's like, I can't watch these anymore. He sells me on these things, and I don't need another gear addiction. I got knife addiction, gun addiction. That's all I can do, says he. So I thought that was hilarious. And yeah, he said he's going to go over to Patreon. I was like, join up, dude. It's $5 a month. Easy. You spend 3 times that amount on a lunch, generally speaking. Okay, so maybe he'll bounce into Patreon. Hope to see you over here, bro. It's good times. Okay, now, the first thing I love about this brand, and by the way, I talked to some TMP Patreon guys in Patreon, and they are aware of the brand. They asked me to review the brand. They've bought some watches. They go, it is fantastic. And dudes, you are absolutely correct. When I had messaged them, I had like 2 in inventory. I've gotten more to review. Again, purchased, not given to me for free from the company. I don't do that. I'll sell them, keep them, give them away, whatever. And you're right, it's a fantastic brand. I'm very enthusiastic about it. You're going to see these watches. If you like classic vintage style timepieces with a Flieger like vintage pilot twist, you're going to love these. And the Z is silent, they're saying, so I'm just going to call it Santo. Is it Santo? Santo? I don't care. It's Santo for me. That's what I'm going to say. Vintage style, time rediscovered. Man, do they do a great job on their website. Going to their website was such a breath of fresh air. There's so many websites I go to that are so poor. This one has perfect graphics, a perfect theme. So if you're going to do a modern reinterpretation of vintage timepieces, when your customer goes to your website, give him that feel. Give him the feel of turning a prop on a B-24. Have pictures of flight gloves, aviation stuff, leather jackets. There's others that do it well as well. Like Aviator, fantastic. Great website. They do a great job with it too. Some others. But Santo has a really interesting, unique flair. So they have vintage style graphics, just like this box with a mustache. You got a little hat there. It's just so funny. You know, a little derby. It's just perfect. Good pictures of their watches. They have a really excellent, and by the way, I don't know them. They're not paying me for this review. This is complete independent review. I know I'm gushing over it, but it's completely genuine. They have a perfect explanation of their history, their quality in making their watches. And as I've said in a lot of WRVs, I stick up for the Chinese production, whether it's knives or watches. I've been doing it for well over a decade here in TMP. Anybody who says the quality is down doesn't know what the hell they're talking about. It's awesome. Go look at the pictures of Szanto's labs. They put these watches together in. Dust-free, humidity-controlled, highly skilled workers. It looks like a Seiko factory. It looks like a Citizen factory. It looks like an IWC factory. Same quality levels, and yet you're only spending, what, 100 to 175 bucks for these watches. Like I said, that's where my focus is in being a watch reviewer of sorts. $300 below. Every watch I'm showing you here is well under $300. Most around 100 to 150. Fantastic. And to answer your question, yeah, I'm going to do 2 videos. Otherwise, this video is going to go too long. We'll have another bomber, like I said. First up, we're going to go, I guess, a little bit backwards. I'm going to show you the 4000 series. I have 2 of their watches in this series. Here comes a vintage Pilot. And I don't really have the last 2 digits. It's just a 4000 series, and I bought this one used off eBay, y'all. Pre-programmed. So this is prior to me cracking it open and fixing what I think needs to be fixed, and that is the hands. That's where we're going to start. Now, a lot of you guys will look at the hands on this, and this, by the way, is the theme I'm talking about. Look at the case, the strap, the overall look, the feel of the watch. It looks like it came out of the 1930s, right? With a modern twist. That's all fantastic. I like that. But I also like legibility. I'm a big legibility freak. I want to be able to just snap, glance at my watch case and know the time without any fooling around. Can I do it with this? Kind of. Kind of. So we have brass colored, they're stamped aluminum hands, and they do have lume in them. Then we have shiny markers. We have Arabic numerals on the outer case. Really clear markings, by the way. I love the markings. They're fantastic. So this is a type A dial. So it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, not in 5 increments. Like my daily wear today, the Parnas 47mm IWC homage with splattered paint on it because I was painting in it today. So this is a type B dial. See 5, 10, 15, 20. I actually like a type A dial better. I wouldn't call this an IWC homage. It's kind of its own creature, and this is a chronograph too. So let's go ahead and start the chronograph. There you go. And a lot of viewers have been saying, like, when it has a large seconds hand here, they get a little bit confused. They think that's a seconds hand. That is not the seconds hand. This one is a sub seconds hand here. This is your totalizer here for the chronograph function. The pushers are positive on this one, by the way. 4000 series Santo. And again, the name of this is Vintage Pilot. Vintage Pilot. Back to the hands though. What am I going to do with these hands? If I keep the watch, they're going to go pure white, just like this Parnas. So these were the same way. So they're outlined in black. They had lume fill, and I've lost the lume on there, but I don't care. If you're not wearing a watch, doesn't matter if the lume is great or not. And by the way, the lume doesn't last that long anyhow. And by the way, you should be wearing a smartwatch paired up with your favorite analog timepiece, just like I do. Apple Watch. I've been running a series, what is this, Series 2? Been running this one for like 3 years. Not a great watch, great wrist computer, super lightweight, unobtrusive. Then I can wear on the other wrist whatever I want. I will always sell that, and I see more guys doing it. Okay, so the hands are good the way they are. They're sword hands. They're not bad, and they are thematic with the case. This one, again, I bought used off eBay. Paid like 80 bucks for it. What a deal. What a deal. There is something wrong with it that needs addressing already. Can you see what it is? Speaking of my watch programmer skills. You see the cloudiness inside the case? It's actually inside. That's not on the crystal. I don't know if the previous user took this apart, did something. I highly doubt it. I think it just built up. It's just kind of a film on the inside of the crystal. Don't know if you can see it accurately. Easy to fix. I can pop this thing open, take the hands off literally within a minute. And if I keep it, I'm going to turn the hands pure white. I'll probably tape them. That way, if I ever want to restore them back to the original look, like this, then I can just unpeel the tape and there you go. But what I'll do is probably go pure white on the hands. I'll paint the chronograph totalizer hand fluorescent orange. You can never go wrong with that. Well, almost never. Almost never. I'm going to show you a competitive option that I did just that with. Actually, I'm going to show you right now. Yeah, this is a good time. This is an Aviator discontinued Lancaster Bomber 4020. Dang, is this a cool watch. Cyclops window reviewed. I don't even know if I ever posted that review. Here you go. This is the mod I'm talking about. So this is modded by me on the left. Program. So it had the same type of thing. It had like outline in black, invisible seconds hand. This is not a chronograph. The date's being covered by the minutes hand. Look at that. No, I mean, that's what I'm talking about. That's just a nutnfancy style. And if you like them as they come, congratulations. Less work that you'll have to do and less risk that you won't risk destroying your watch. Because every time you take a watch apart, if you don't have a lot of practice, you can ruin it. That's right. You can bend the hands, put them on wrong, and then your whole watch is toast. And yeah, I have ruined several. Thank you. That's the way you learn. Okay, details on, again, as a reminder, the vintage Pilot. Still being sold, I believe. Talked about the markers already. Talked about the hands. You do have a negative display date window and this Miyota quartz movement. It is a brown dial. I like that. We're pretending the film on the inside of the case isn't there on this used watch. Mineral crystal, not sapphire, no big deal. And I have, did I put a crystal protector on this one? I think I didn't yet. They come on so clean. Oh, I do have one on. You can't even tell, can you? Yeah, so it protects it, so I don't need sapphire. And it's just a really nice face. Different colorations, by the way, and a lot of these will come in either a 2-dial presentation or 3-dial presentation, i.e. a chronograph, non-chronograph variety. And I think the military Pilot does as well. Go to their website and you'll see what I'm talking about. And pick your flavor. I have warmed up to chronographs more. I have a lot in inventory. If given a preference, I would probably go with a non-chronograph. I don't need the pushers on the side. I'd rather have more dial space. This Parnas 47mm, it's just my daily wear today, has a usable power reserve. This is an automatic Seagull automatic movement. This is a quartz one, but I'm just showing this by way of reference. So non-chronograph, and this has a sub-seconds dial on it. That's a GMT hand there on that Parnas. Go watch that review. It'll post. Let's look at the case. This is what I'm talking about at Santo. Their theme, how nicely done it is. It looks like antiqued brass, right? So this is 316L stainless steel like we always see, and they have it coated. So that do that really cool PVD coating on it. It just looks fantastic. No, they're not the only ones that do it. Go reference Spinnaker. Spinnaker's great in weathering their watches. Another favorite micro brand they do. Now the sizing on these watches, for the most part, I hope I get this right because I'm reviewing multiple sizes. This should be 44 by 15 by 54. So 44 across, 15 in thickness, 54, did I say, lug to lug. They're 22mm lugs. That takes us to the perfect straps. Oh my gosh, another thing this brand does right are the straps. These are the types of straps I actually go hunting for my other watches. Usually spending a lot more than I want to. And they're logo straps. So this one is leather lined. It's not vinyl, it's not rubber, it's not synthetic, it's genuine leather. They're about 4.5mm thick. They're finished on the edges. I love thick leather straps on watches. They're some of my favorite because they stabilize the watch so well. They can wear off your wrist, so you can actually pop it off your wrist and create an airspace because it has thickness to it. So see what I'm saying, like this? So it can like support the watch. Whether, like if you have a flimsy strap, like my NATO today, I can't do that. A thick leather strap looks cool and it's functional. Finished edges, you can see that. 2 keepers. Logo clasp matching the case in this one. The vintage Pilot 4000 series, I forget the last 2 digits. Usually if they're like 10s, it's a chronograph. So you can see the chronograph is working right there. So now we're going to stop it and then we'll reset it. So as a snapback function, you can see the totalizer went to 0. Really nice case. That's a good looking watch right there, fellas. Really good. Here comes the other one. And this one you'll love as well. This is a Desert Sands 4504. Look at this. Talk about clean presentation, non-chronograph. The Desert Sands does come in a chronograph presentation, so you can get one if you want it. You're going to spend like, I don't know, $50, $60 more for it though. Now, it's not super capturing in the camera well because it looks kind of like a white dial here. It's actually a desert sands dial. That's a great description of it. So it's kind of a creamy white color. And on these hands, I like a little bit better than those because they're not shiny. I don't like shiny metal on my hands. I detest it. I'll always say that. This one is outlined in black. Has, I think on this one, Super Luminova. I'll try to remember to show you some lume shots of these two. But it works against the white face. It does better because you can get a really quick time read off of it. I would like the sword hands on this one, the Desert Sands, to be a little bit bigger, kind of like the Parnas. I mean, I just like big, broad hands. Although variety is a spice of life, not every watch has to do this. So these are sword hands, not stretched kite hands. Notice the font on this one, speaking of that vintage theme that Santo does so well. It's like that old-timey typeface from the 1930s. This one has a chapter ring with military time on it. It does take up some case space, reducing our effective display if you care. This one here, the military pilot, did not. Did you notice that? So it had no slanted chapter ring. I'm talking about this portion right here. So it's a nice thin bezel, big presentation. It looks like a bigger watch than it really is, the military pilot. This actually has about the same size. We're looking at 44 across. This one is thinner at 11 millimeters and a 54 lug to lug. If I'm saying that right. I think that's right. And we don't have a seconds hand. We have a sub-seconds hand here, ticking away at the bottom. Really clear markings. Triangular markers at the 12, 3, 6, and 9 position with a little bit of lume. I never look at these vintage style watches, whether you're talking about Aviator, Sterling Original, Aimant, or Santo, and go, man, I really want fantastic lume. I think it's more about the experience of the look, the Flieger old style look. If they have lume, great, I'm happy, but I don't really need it. Again, I'm wearing this paired up pretty much 100% of the time. So that has lume all the time as long as the battery's up. Really nice case, right? Look at the typeface for Santo, that's good. Now here's a programmer input. Would I put a decal on this? This is an interesting question because I will decal my watches and change how they look, but not always. It really is an art piece when I work with a watch. It's very artsy and it's very right-brainish. This one, the answer is no, I wouldn't, because it would really kind of destroy the look of the watch. Between the font, the sub-second style, the big numerals at the 3 and 9 position, I think it would clutter it up if I put any type of decal in here at all. Every watch is different. Every watch has a different feel. What I would do if I were to mod this watch is make the hands completely black. That's exactly what I did with this one. Here comes an Orient Mako XL with a nutnfancy hands modification by way of reference. Look at that. So to me, that pops better. And it has basically the same coloration of the dials. This one is luminous, this one is not. But you can see how that just pops and it becomes stark and super legible. I painted the seconds hand fluorescent orange here. I'll put the link below on this. This is a drop, the website drop, only $145. The Orient Mako XL 43 millimeter dive watch. I changed the strap out for this leopard brown one. Sick! That's a great value. Great watch. It needed a hands mod though. It had like shiny hands. Anyways, I'll review this separate. Back to the Santo though. Making this pure black, this is just an artistic programmer note right here, not really a review. Really a hard call because I like the hands how they are. I really do. I think they're cool. They're adequately legible. Hard decision. I don't know. Say in comment, which leave the hands alone or molest them and make them pure black. I know what you're going to say. Leave them alone, nothing. They're perfect. Well, good for you because when you buy your watch, you won't have to run the risk of hands modding it. Here's the strap on this one. Again, this is a Desert Sands 4000 series. This particular one, the 4504. There's lots of variations, different colorations, different straps. The strap this one comes with, pretty excellent. It's that really thick cowhide strap. Polished leather, stitching is perfect. 2 keepers, antique clasp. Now some competitive options. One I showed you already, it is fantastic, it is discontinued. You might be able to find it on eBay somewhere. The Lancaster Bomber in various flavors. And seriously, I think I did review this watch. I don't know if I ever posted it. It's probably from 2017. Maybe I should get around to it. It is prior to my programming days, however. And you'll see the hands represent that. This is, again, modded by me, fluorescent, secondhand. Painted, I actually painted these ones. Hours, minutes, hand. I just like it so much better. It's cool camouflage faces. Look at the case back. Oh my goodness. This one's super rare because I signed it Lieutenant Colonel nutnfancy. I rarely do that. That's how you do a case back, boys and girls. And it beats Santo. The case backs on Santo, I didn't really show you that in depth. They're screwing case backs. They're okay. They're not bad. But Aviator has it going on. I mean, they show the bombers. They're highly polished. Look at this. This one says, strike hard, strike sure on this 4020 Aviator. Equally awesome bands. I mean, it's a great competitive option. The Aviator products, especially these more affordable Miyota quartz models, just fantastic. And they are the same thematically. They're capturing that World War II Flieger style of presence, wrist presence. This one is one I found off eBay, and I don't think you can find it. It's actually a Russian watch someone put together. So it's an Everest face they put on it. Some mechanical movement. I think it's a Malaysia movement. It's just a wind-up mechanical movement. I put a 22 millimeter Zulu strap, NATO strap on it, and I got it working. I had to get it serviced, and man, it makes me happy. I didn't do anything with these hands. They're blued. Kind of a tan Everest dial, marking the achievements of mountain climbing. I just love this watch. It's so cool. It was hardly anything. It was like 70 bucks. Bought it from Russia. But thematically, and that's why I'm showing it, it just kind of goes with these watches, doesn't it? That old vintage feel, old military feel. I like it. Let me see. I'll show you maybe one more. Here we go. Now, this is another great micro brand. I love it. This is Aimant, and this is the Berlin. Or the Rotterdam. Honestly, I forget. I think it's the Berlin. No, it's a Rotterdam. Here you go. That's a great case back, and they actually write the name of it. Chronograph, okay. Really nice presentation. Perfect straps. This is kind of a grayish tan leather. Really nice hands. I wouldn't do anything to these hands of this Aimant Rotterdam watch. I think it's like a 43 millimeter by 13 millimeter watch. Maybe not quite as vintage looking as a Santo, because if we look at the Santo, like going back to what I said about their website, they just do it so well. They really have that thematic thing going along that they want it to look like an old watch from the 30s. This is more modern, but it's still kind of that same style. It's a great option. You cannot go wrong with any of the Aimant watches. They're fantastic. I have about 3 of them. They've been great. Miyota quartz movements. They're super lightweight. Perfect leather straps. Just really excellent watches. There you go. We got to wrap it up. Oh my gosh. All right, so box you saw already. The Z is silent. They're calling it Santo. I'm going to do another one if this is well received and show you that to you, and maybe you'll like it. Oh, you want a sneak peek? Here you go. Here's the other 2 I will be reviewing in a different WRV. No. There you go. B24, nutnfancy, and all the watches on the table. Signing off. This has been my first take of a great micro brand, Santo. They are fantastic watches, well executed, beautiful, perfect details, high quality. Over and